So Diddy has finally come out and made a statement talking about he's truly sorry. And he looks like the evil is coming out of his skin. He looks terrible. He looks a hot mess. He's apologizing for his behaviors like he didn't know that he participated in these behaviors before this video came out. It took the whole world seeing him in his monstrous form to come out and make this apology of video. But he knew in his heart what he was capable of because he's the one that did all of these things so many years ago and then took the steps to make sure that that video was bought and paid for. Whoever he had to pay off was paid off, and he kept that video. So he knew what he did to that woman. And I know that he knows what he has done to all the other people that he has victimized in the past. But like he said, he is truly sorry to Cassie.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
But 5 days ago on his Instagram, he put out this message that just says, "Time tells truth." What is up with this cryptic message? Did it literally take him 5 days to come out and basically tell the truth? Is that what he was saying? I do not know. Back when Diddy originally settled with Cassie, his attorney, Ben Bradford, came out and said, this settlement is not an admission of guilt. This happened back in November of last year. Back when this man was sitting up there settling and letting all of these people call this woman a liar and say that this is a money grab and all of that. So his lawyer, Ben Bradford, issued a statement regarding Cassie's lawsuit settlement. The famed attorney clarified the settlement between the two parties doesn't mean that Diddy admitted to wrongdoing in the R&B singer's legal claim. Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best. So that is what he said. He is not admitting any wrongdoing. He is flat out denying the claims. And then once everybody started coming out with their own lawsuits, because obviously Cassie opened up the floodgates, and we know that Diddy has had victims in the past. We know this. It's been rumblings about him for decades now. He's just been able to get away with it. Diddy came out in December 6th saying enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. That is what he said. He knew at that particular time in December all of the things that he had done, but he's a flat out liar, basically. And so many people who came out and snowballed on top of Cassie and his other victims definitely should be looking within, because why would you defend this person? Why would you defend this person? Is it something about you that you need to look at yourself? Is it the projection? Why are we so quick to victim blame, talking about, oh, they just want to take another brother down? They just, no, no. This man has had rumblings against him for the longest. He had pew-pewed a woman and made Shine take the fall for it, and then bullied that woman and basically harassed that woman. He has not had a very good character for a long time. Why are all of his artists all like, where are they? Why is no one coming out and supporting them? Because they saw firsthand how this man operates. For the people who know and knew to not come down on Cassie, I'm sure that she is receiving that well. And for the other people who decided to just victim blame, I hope that you are feeling that well, because why, like I said, why do we always come down on the victims first? Always thinking that these people in Hollywood, come on now, in Hollywood, we know that people like this have the power to pay off people, to make people stay silent. Diddy had that power. Unfortunately, though, the statute of limitations has passed, and the LA district attorney says that they cannot prosecute him. So he's free and clear from the allegations. I'm sorry, he's free and clear from prosecution because of that. All right, this is from the DA's office. We are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in LA. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge, as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our offices for support from our Bureau of Victims Services. So, unfortunately, he is getting away scot-free on this from LA, but we do not know what the feds are doing, what they are doing in the background. So hopefully this man will spend the rest of his days at least being locked up in his own house, but hopefully locked up in some kind of federal penitentiary. And hopefully the people who have enabled this behavior for decades go down too. Now, Ryan Clark, the former football player and podcaster, has some very strong statements regarding Diddy and his enablers. He said Cassie's physical wounds may have healed, but the mental and emotional trauma suffered at the hands of Sean Combs left irreparable damage. She lived through his abuse and was ridiculed once she built up the courage to speak up. I can't imagine the torment and torture she's endured. Simply put, Sean Combs is a B word. The men around him are B words too. He deserves no grace for this, no understanding. There are no longer any ifs. He's an effing monster, and he deserves any and every consequence that comes from these horrific actions. No post assault video release, long distance apology changes that.
First thing, and we need to be honest, like Sean Combs is a bitch.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I think the men who are around him and knew he was that, they bitches too. I do have two little girls, and we sort of got into the conversation when he was brought up by Floyd Mayweather, and some of the things he was saying is like, no, if he did those things, he's a monster. Mm-hmm. If he did those things, he should rot in jail. And it's not to say that he should be in a place to where he could never be forgiven. That's between him and God. That's between him and Cassie. But we can look at that as men and say that some things you don't get to come back from. And the video is so telling, right? Because she's escaping, right? Like it's not one of those things where you're in a situation where you could tell somebody, hey, I'm leaving you, or hey, I don't want to be here, and you can walk out and not fear for your life, right? Like you watch TV shows where people are running from war and running from things that people are trying to kill them, trying to hurt. That's what that woman was doing. Right? And then he pulls her down and he's stumping her. Bro, I'm a grown man who is perfectly fine defending himself. But even if I'm fighting somebody right now that I dislike, I'm not gonna fucking stump you on the ground. And it brings into mind like all the other whole shit he's ever done publicly. all the ways that he's used his power, all the ways that he's disrespected people and treated people, and you let him do that because of his power. And now you know that this woman has been living with this for years. And those bruises heal, right? But emotionally, mentally, the trauma that she's experienced, and then to come out after all these years and finally have the courage to say something about it, to do something about it, to in some way try to recoup some of your dignity, in some way try to recoup what he took from you. Now you got to hear everybody in the world doubt that you ever went through those things. Yeah. And when you look at some of the affidavits and read some of the things of the civil cases, you can look at those things and say, you know what? He's just in some way perverted. Mm-hmm. Maybe those things aren't things that broach illegalities. Maybe some of those things aren't things that are immorally wrong. But to beat that woman like that, someone who's clearly scared of you, someone who's clearly in fear, someone who's clearly afraid, and you think that make you a fucking man? And so for me, there is no coming back from it. For me, there is no, it's ever going to be okay. For me, all our prayers, all our thoughts should be with that woman. All our thoughts should be with her husband, who in some way is going to have to try to help that woman heal from what the fuck that man did. And I think it's a lesson to all of us that we definitely want people to be innocent until proven guilty. But we have to be fair in the way that we assess it and understand that two people are going through it until we know. And more than anything, a lot of times,
Diddy was apologetic at all. Why didn't he just come out when he was paying that money and speak of the wrongs that he did to people? Because the videos hadn't been seen. We didn't see how much of a monster he was. It was only after the world saw it that he made that very that apology, whatever you want to call it. But y'all let me know what you think about his apology. Do you think that he is actually feeling this way, or is it just, dang it, I just have to admit to it now? I finally have got to cop to it, even though we all saw it at the same time. Y'all let me know how you think about this, how you feel about this. Jump in the comments, like, comment, and share.